Good evening everybody, and once again welcome back to the channel. This is going to be a very short video where I just want to cover a simple Python utility class which will make your life a little bit easier for processing files in an incremental fashion. Now the most important question is, in a directory when there are like a bunch of files, right? Let's say you have processed file 1 and 2 and the next time file 3 and 4 comes, right? So you only want to process 3 and 4. So how do you develop a simple Python utility tool that can basically scan the directory, do the checkpointing, and the next time it will only fetch those files? The most easiest way is you need to do a list operation, and once you do the list operation, you process the files and then you commit the checkpoint, the last timestamp of the file you commit it. So the next time when you do the list operation in the directory, you say, hey, give me everything after that particular timestamp, and that's how incremental data processing works. Now, usually to avoid the directory growing in size, you usually set up a lifecycle policy so that your data files after a couple of days will transition either into Glacier or basically you will delete it. So let me show you this Python utility tool. I hope you guys will enjoy it. You can use this utility tool to run it on a Lambda function or a glue bash job, or process data in Spark and then write it into Hoodie, Iceberg, or Delta, or use DAF to process data files incrementally. Again, so let's take a look at this small utility Python code that I wrote. Alright, so let's take a look at the local file system. So in the directory, I have a raw folder, and then this is the path where, a lot of files are inserted, right? New files are coming in. This is the path where I would like to have the checkpoint. So the first thing is you create an instance of a class incremental file processor. This is a Python class, and we are creating instance on line 115. And then you just invoke a method get new files. Now, based on whether it's a file colon or it's S3 or S3a, whether it's min.io, S3 or local file system, this Python class will work just fine for all of them. And then here you can see if you have new files, you can iterate over the files and process it, right? Or do whatever needed with that. And then at the end, you commit the checkpoint. So you say processor.commit checkpoint. So I'm going to show you this over here. So I'm going to run this Python file quickly. And here you can see it was able to process 2 CSV files, and then it has committed the checkpoint. So in the local directory, if I go quickly, I want to show you if I probably go to this directory for my checkpoint, let me quickly verify. So it's in the Spark project incremental, and then I would see a file called new checkpoint.json. And here you can see the last processed timestamp is available here, right? So basically, if I run it again, there should be no files to process. Absolutely fantastic, right? Now let's take a look at S3, how it works, right? So let me again come to the code, okay, and then collapse this, and then I will comment out this, and then I'm gonna go to S3. Same thing again, nothing. Same way you will use the class. Create an instance of a class incremental file processor. Now it takes an S3 path, right? So if I have my S3 here, I can see I have some raw files, right? So, and then I have a checkpoint directory on S3, and then same thing, right? So I'm gonna again now run this Python code, and you observe this, we were able to read 3 CSV files, and it basically committed the checkpoint. So now if I go to S3, if I refresh here, I can see the checkpoint. Oops, it's a little hard. And hopefully I should be able to use action and then query with S3 select. And I'm just gonna leave it to JSON and gonna say run SQL. So hopefully makes sense, right? What I'm saying, right? So if I again run the same one, I would have no files to process. Great, right? And last but not the least, I want to show you about the min.io. So I have my min.io buckets spinned up locally, and I have some CSV file. Now let's test that particular case out. So I'm gonna come to my template, and then I want to do test min.io. Again, everything remains the same. It operates the same way. The class will take care, depending upon S3a or S3, it will basically, invoke the appropriate private method in the class, right? So here you can see I provided the, access secret on the min.io endpoint, and same thing. Same path, same way I'm invoking it, same thing, right? If new files are there, process it and then commit the checkpoint. So let's see if this works, right? So now I will run this with min.io, and this should just work fine. Here you can see it was able to read 2 files from my min.io, which is over here, right? And if I go back, I should see the checkpoint. Lovely, you can see the checkpoint. And now if I run it again, I would have no files to process. This is very, very important. You can use the script in EMR serverless to read data from CSV, Parquet, JSON, and then you just need to write spark.read, either it's Parquet, CSV, or whatever that is. So that's Spark part. But if you want to use Daft or any other library, you can even do that, right? You can also run this template in a Lambda function. So let's say you want to run this every minute or every 30 minutes or every hour to fetch new files and maybe push it into an SQS queue or whatever you want to do, right? You could do that. So I hope this simple Python utility will make your life a little easy. And if you are using this Python utility that I just wrote yesterday, let me know by doing that in the comment section below. And that's about it. That's a short video. I just wanted to cover this simple Python class which will make your life a little easy to fetch data incrementally. Now, of course, one might say, hey, but I have this directory, and what if I have a lot of files? Yes, you have to do a list operation and then say, hey, give me after that particular checkpoint. But remember, you have lifecycle policy set up, which means that directory is not going to grow like big, because those files are either going to be deleted or it's going to move to infrequent access or Glacier at the end, right? Now, what if you want to do it real time? Well, then it's a little different, right? Then you need to set up an event listener. So as soon as an object goes into any object store, you want to you want to fire that event, and then you want to have it in an SQS queue, some sort of a queuing, right? And then your consumers can consume data from that particular queue, right? So I hope you enjoyed. I hope this gave you a good idea about incremental data processing. If you have any other questions, let me know, and I will be more than happy to answer your questions. Until then, keep smiling, keep programming, and I will see you next time.